welcome back to another top producer interview. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing my good friend, Mr. Eric Brown, one of the OGs from the DeFord Insurance Group, as well as my good friend, Alvin, from Family Benefit and Trinity Insurance. And today, we're going to cover some of Eric's experience, what he's been doing out in the field, and why specifically he has chosen to lead with Family Benefit, also known as Trinity, depending on what state you're in, why he's chosen that specific product. So good morning and welcome for being here. Thank you for being here, Eric.
Well, thank you.
All right. And thank you for being here as well. Welcome, Alvin.
Thank you for having us, JD. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So let's get right into it, Eric. Kind of give us a highlight as far as how long you've been an agent, where you're located at, telesales, face-to-face, kind of that overview of your situation.
I got my license in January of 2021. Started writing business in February of 2021. Quit my job in March of 2021 and jumped in full time in the insurance business. And actually, the very first policy I wrote was Family Benefit Life, and it was, I was fairly new. It was obviously new, totally new. And they fit my clients. They had the best rate, and we were encouraged that they were a good carrier, and just kept writing them, and the relationship just kept developing.
Perfect. So you would say since day one, you have been writing with Family Benefit. Is that correct?
That's correct. They were the first two day one coverage policies I wrote were both Family Benefit.
Fantastic. Fantastic. And let me ask you this, Eric, what made you decide, you kind of alluded to it a little bit, but what made you decide to start particularly with Family Benefit versus the other choices you have available?
David had encouraged us that Family Benefit was a great carrier, that they had great rates, that their underwriting was very predictable, that we could, if you did your job in underwriting, the approval rate is a slam dunk. If the client's honest with you about prescriptions, it just works great. And he encouraged us too that they were a great company to work with. So we had encouragement there. And then with me in the field, they were the price leader a lot of times for my clients. So we got going with them and learned as I worked with them, the relationship just grew, and they're just great to work with. The underwriting is, what you see is what you get. They're, you do it right, the underwriting is going to go through. And I make very good money dealing with them. So.
Okay, perfect. And so one thing that I wanted to throw in there, in case you are not a broker, one of the advantages of being a broker and have an option to choose multiple carriers to write for your client is that you're going to be able to find them a place where you can put them or provide first day full coverage. That's always our goal as a broker, is finding where you can get the best coverage and also at the most affordable price. Not only are you obviously benefiting your client by doing that, but you're also benefiting your own self in that the folks that you write with the best coverage, first day full coverage, and at the cheapest price, you're less likely for them to get replaced by another carrier. So me personally, I'm also a face-to-face agent. Since day one, I've been leading with Family Benefit, which also known as Trinity, in my area for a couple reasons. One reason, which I can't go any further without mentioning my good friend Gatlin, is a local agent to me who writes a ton of business and one of the top producers for Family Benefit. And he's kind of guided me in that process and helped me choose Family Benefit. But the reason why I personally like to write with them is kind of what Eric had alluded to. First and foremost, it's almost always the cheapest coverage for first day, for level coverage, first day full coverage. And in addition to that is the persistency numbers. Now, I don't know the specific numbers. I'll let Alvin cover that, but I do know that it's over 90%, which, by the way, in the scheme of final expense, I think anywhere over 80% is probably considered good. So when you're at 90 or 95 or in that range, you're at excellent, right? And so, Alvin, maybe can you dive into covering that first as far as the persistency numbers with Family Benefit?
Yeah, thank you, JD. And both you and Eric kind of hit one of the key things right on the head why so many career-minded agents choose to do business with Trinity Life and Family Benefit. And one of that is the more competitive premiums. Um, Career-minded agents obviously understand that competitive premiums are not only going to be easier to sell, but like you both very well know, it makes it a lot harder for another agent to come in and replace your client's policies in 2 or 3 months. And that definitely leads to what you're referring to, JD, is higher persistency. And agents do realize that in a short time frame, their persistency with Trinity Life and Family Benefit is higher than other companies for a couple of reasons. One is that lower premium, and then the other is our ability to more accurately time clients' premium payments. So that way we can beat them when it comes to their Social Security and disability paydays. So yes, that does lead to the higher persistency. And you're right. You know, a lot of companies. I was visiting with one of our marketing organizations a couple of years ago, and they were saying, yeah, they got a big high five and a congratulations because the business that they issued that year, in that 13th month, the business was at persistency was at 80%. They thought that was great. And I was like, well, that's a little lower than what we're used to. As a company on a 13-month persistency, we're running 90 to 91%. Matter of fact, I was with David in Tennessee last week. Their entire 2023 business issued this year, persistency was at 95.5%. Well, a little kudos to you, Eric. I looked at yours this morning. Your persistency for 2023 is at 98.2%, which is that's just unheard of. So that tells me you do a fabulous job with your clients. Thank you for that. And you also mentioned something earlier, Eric, that was very important. And that was, you know, with Trinity Life and Family Benefit, if you do a good job of field underwriting, you know how that policy is going to get issued before you even really begin the true application process. And that's how we've designed our final expense product and system, is that if your clients are honest with you at the time of application, you know exactly how that policy is going to get issued. So that's another reason why, JD, a lot of career-minded agents love doing business with us, is because of that. They have high placement ratios. Looking at your placement ratio this morning, Eric, 89.5% of every application you submitted with us this year has been issued. Yeah. So congratulations on a high placement ratio as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, by the way, Alvin, please don't pull my numbers up while we're on here. I'm just kidding. But one thing I did want to one thing I did want to cover was the thing that you mentioned is that Social Security billing. So for people that aren't familiar with that process, can you describe what that is and how that works?
Yeah, thank you, JD, because if I was an agent in the final expense arena today, that would be my first question if I was looking at a company is, do you accurately time clients' premium payments to the day Social Security deposited money into their bank accounts? This last Labor Day was a really great example. September 3rd was on a Sunday. And the government, well, I guess I need to back up here a little second. The government pays Social Security and disability income 5 times a month. They pay on the 1st and 3rd of the month, and then on the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th Wednesday of the month. And the Wednesdays are really great because the banks and everybody is open, but the 1st and 3rd of the month are horrible. They fall on the weekends, you know, Saturday, Sunday, or what I call the party weekends, New Year's, 4th of July, and Labor Day. This last Labor Day was a great example. The 3rd of the month, which is probably the biggest payday of the month, was on Sunday. So the government, in their infinite wisdom, they decide, well, if it falls on a weekend bank holiday, we're going to deposit all of that money into people's accounts on the Friday before the weekend. Okay? So what ended up happening is that if an agent has a 3rd of the month client, their premium payment, their money got deposited into their account on Friday the 1st. But if the agent told us that their client's premium payment was to be Social Security related, We actually went in then and drafted that third of the month client on Friday the 1st to match the day the government put the money into their bank account. Unfortunately, a lot of other companies had to wait until Tuesday the 5th. So you can imagine the problem. A lot of final expense consumers, because they all know when they get paid, a lot of them would have walked down to that ATM over that 4-day weekend when the banks were closed, pulled out everything but $5 out of that out of their bank account, and then use that as they're walking around money for lottery tickets, bingo, whatever they spend their money on, with their bills and things of that nature. So the problem is when these companies come in and draft on Tuesday the 5th, 4 days late, it comes back insufficient funds. The agent gets a notification a day or two later. They try to reach out to the client. Their client says, well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to have money till next month. They try to see the client next month. Well, I can't afford 2 months. The policy falls off the books. The agent gets charged back all unearned advanced commissions. They actually lost money on that. And when I say they lost money on it, they not only lost that first year commission, they're never going to get a renewal on that policy either. Our agents don't have that challenge near as often because our system is truly designed to beat those clients to the bank. So yes, Social Security is very big and important to accurately time those premium payments. So thank you, JD.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was one of the things I want to make sure that I cover, the reasons why I write with Family Benefit, again, for the price, for the persistency, and part of that persistency is tied into the ability to have that Social Security billing. So from there, Eric, I want to jump into the underwriting process. Can you maybe describe to folks, how do you approach your underwriting? How do you decide which folks are a good fit for Family Benefit, or just in general, the underwriting process itself?
I follow David's, thank you, JD, but I follow David's pattern I was trained in. So I've got them here, very detailed, the camera blurs it, but very detailed underwriting sheet. It doesn't take that long. So I just go through every time, I ask all the questions. I've done it enough now, I can know in my head what's going to pass and what's not. But I do the prescriptions on the back. So I've got health questions, prescription questions. And one of the things I've learned is to ask, what prescriptions have you been prescribed, even if you're not taking them anymore? Because that's the biggie. They'll say, well, I don't take that, or I never took it. But I'm like, have you been prescribed it? And so if they tell me, and then what I use Specs Toolkit. And I always use it. And I'm very process oriented. So even though I know it'll get approved, I use Specs Toolkit. I put everything in and it brings up carriers, and it's pretty accurate. I mean, there are times where maybe there's a mistake and I know a person will get approved that, maybe they say they won't. But, and I know, so the Specs Toolkit is good. I've done it enough now. I know that stuff pretty much by heart, but yeah, I follow the process. I'm kind of disappointed in my numbers actually. On the one number was like 91%. The ones that I have is either they forgot or they were deceptive, but that's, and it both happen. You have clients who honestly forget, a medicine, and then you have some who absolutely don't tell you even though you asked. But yeah, so that's my underwriting. That's what I do. Ask the questions, and then watch for I'm face to face, so I can watch for reactions too. If I can dig a little bit, ask it to, because I don't want to waste time. I want to get the app done. If they're graded, let's get them graded and get out of there. If they're first day, let's get them first day and get out of there.
Perfect. Yeah. I would say I would agree with that. I have had those folks like, oh yeah, I forgot I had open heart surgery 2 weeks ago. I forgot about that. Like, that unfortunately will happen to everybody. And then as far as those underwriting, that questionnaire that you've got there, Eric, are you using specifically the questions from Family Benefit, or is it something that you've kind of custom tailored based on your experience?
This was originally from David, and I added to it. And then obviously once we get the underwriting, what a pre-qualification I would call it, then we do ask the specific questions on the family benefit app.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, that's what I wanted to cover next was the actual application process. Eric, I'm going to start with you, and you can kind of tell us how you utilize the e-application and or whatever application that you're using to submit your work. And then anything that we miss, we'll follow up here with Alvin to let us fill in the blanks. But tell us about the application process with Family Benefit, Eric.
Most of the time I use the e-app. They've really perfected it. It's an e-app, and then there's about a 5-minute phone call with MRS. Runs like clockwork. Done enough of them. I let the client know ahead of time, the process for the e-app and the phone call. The one great thing about Family Benefit is that they do offer the paper app or the telephonic app also. That's important for me because I work a lot of rural areas, and it doesn't happen often anymore. I carry a lot of hotspots with me, different carriers, telephone carriers, but occasionally I get a spot where I have no internet. And so I'll pull out the paper app, do a paper app with the MRS call. I don't know, timed out, start to finish, maybe 20 minutes. I can have the app wrapped up with the e-app plus the phone call, beneficiaries payment, sign, DocuSign. The paper app, obviously, you got to upload it, but that's not hard. So, and I have done telephonic apps a couple times. So I've used all methods and they all work. So very happy with the process.
Perfect. Yeah. And I could kind of echo kind of the same experience. So I don't know that I've ever done a full telephone app or a paper app. I've always been able to get access, luckily, wherever I was to submit the e-app. And the e-app, from what I'm aware, is hosted through MRS, which I'm sure Alvin will go into more detail. So you get all their basic information as far as their name, date of birth, kind of the overview stuff. Then you go to the medical questionnaire portion of it. Then once you complete that, you jump on the phone, and I literally will brag to my folks that I'm in, like, listen, we've got to call this company. We're just going to verify some of your information. I actually have all the questions memorized. Here's exactly what they're going to ask you. Here's going to be your answer. And if you have any questions, just look at me and I'll help guide you through the process. And I'm like, overall, that phone call is typically 5 minutes or less. And my favorite part about that is literally when I hang up the phone, I show them, I go, look, see, it was 4 minutes and 38 seconds. Like it's consistently, there's very little to, if any, ever hold time. And then once you get somebody on the phone, it's in 5 minutes or less. And then you do have the option, once you complete that portion of it, to finalize the application on the phone, where you get the beneficiary information as well as the banking information. One thing I do like, though, is that before you even have to put all the information in, you're going to get an answer or response from Family Benefit or Trinity before you even have to worry about those details. But at that point in the application, you get an answer from them, whether they're approved or not, and then you can either continue that conversation, close it on the phone. I personally like to just do it in person because oftentimes I haven't had them get their checkbook out or all that kind of stuff. So I'll just do that, finish it on the e-application. But Alvin, what are we missing there?
I think you guys are both doing a very good job of covering it. We do have 3 different ways for agents to submit applications because agents choose to do business in different manners. Like you had mentioned, we have the old-fashioned paper application. A lot of guys still prefer to do that. That is a wet signature that would be done for face-to-face sales. At the end of a phone interview, when the client is approved, then you simply just scrub the application for errors. Simply fax in the application or upload it through your agent portal. The second option is that telephonic application. We've been doing that since 2017. We have a lot of agents who really love that because they don't have to do anything or submit anything. Everything is just done over a telephone interview. So rather than the agent having to log into an agent portal and data entering the application themselves, the actual telephone interviewers data entering the application for them. And then, yes, we have an e-application option as well, which sounds like that's what both of you guys are mainly using. And we have a lot of agents that like it also. And regardless of which option an agent chooses, they're all designed to give you that point of sale approval, kind of that know before you go, And as you had mentioned, JD, you get that decision before you even have to worry about the beneficiary information, bank account information, things of that nature for two reasons. One, the client might not want to give it to you if they're not approved. But second, if they're not approved, why do we need it? Why do we need to waste you and your client's time, right? And so that's the way that we've kind of always designed the system to be able to handle that as well. And you had mentioned, in which we do, we use MRS, also known as Management Research Services, to conduct the telephone interviews, regardless of which type of application you're using. They are going to need and require at least some sort of a phone interview with each of these three different application processes. And what we found is that phone interview, it does a couple of things really well. One, it actually helps us issue a higher percent of your clients' applications, because so many medications these days are dual purpose medications. And when we have your applicant on the phone, if that dual purpose medication pops up in a prescription check, it gives us the opportunity to ask them, well, why were you prescribed that medication? Because if we didn't have the opportunity to ask them why so many of these dual purpose medications were prescribed, then we'd have to be like a lot of other companies' pure e-apps and just decline all those medications. So a lot of times those clients were able to issue a lot of those, which obviously helps increase an agent's placement ratio. The second thing that phone interview does is it protects the client for if and when a question ever arises down the road. Whether it's the consumer saying, I didn't apply, or the agent said this, that, or the other, or you get an inquiry from a family member, attorney, DOI, when we give them a copy of that phone interview, and it's that applicant's voice applying for life insurance, you never hear from them again.
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Well, great. Yeah. From here, let's dive into commissions, because family benefit does have a unique structure in my experience as far as how the commissions are paid out. So Alvin, I'll let you take this one. How and when are agents paid, and why is it done that way?
Yeah. So commissions are processed every Tuesday and Thursday morning. Commission statements are emailed that afternoon. And then the money is deposited into the agent's bank account the next day, which would either be Wednesday or Friday morning. And we do advances. We have a couple of different options. We, like many companies, we have a 3-month, a 6-month, and a 9-month advance option. But we also have kind of another unique advance. Some companies will pay the advance based upon policy issuance. Some won't pay until the company gets paid. And one of our advance options is the agent does not get an advance until the company gets paid. However, we have another option it's kind of unique. What it does is it splits that advance. It'll split that advance to where the agent gets part of their advance when the policy is mailed out, and then the other part when the company does get paid. So what that does is it kind of gives the agent the best of both worlds. It gives them some cash up front to help them covering with operating and lead costs, but yet then they get the balance of it when the company gets paid. So that way, if something happens in between, they're not hit as hard with chargebacks like maybe they see with other companies.
Perfect. Okay. And then beyond the actual standard commission, Alvin, can you jump into what does the bonus program look like?
Well, at Trinity and Family Benefit, we reward agents a couple of different ways. We reward them based on quantity and quality of production, because what we're doing is we're looking at building and working with more career-minded final expense agents. So what we do is we want to reward those agents who give us a good chunk of their business. And one of the ways that we reward the quantity of business is on our lead bonus program. How our lead bonus program works is for agents who issue $5,000 of annual premium or more in a month, they get a 5% bonus to help them buy leads through the lead company of their choice. So, and it is based on issue date, not application date. But I'll just use Eric as an example. Let's say Eric issued 10,000 of annual premium with us in the month of August. The first week in October, Eric would have received an email from us thanking him for his business and a lead voucher for $500, 5% of 10,000. Eric then places the lead order with the company of his choice. We don't care. We're not in the lead business. It can even be for Medicare Advantage type or Medicare type products, which we don't even sell. We don't have a problem with that because I know the agent is cross-selling. But that lead company will then invoice us. And then we will write that lead company a check for the amount that was on Eric's voucher. We've been doing this lead bonus program since 2001. The agents absolutely love it because it just helps us co-opt their advertising and lead costs, which helps the agents get in front of more clients, because we know as a company at Trinity Life and Family Benefit, the more successful an agent who does business with us is, then obviously the more successful Trinity Life and Family Benefit will be, because we're, I think, one of a few companies that actually view the agent as our customer or our client, and then the policy owner, we see that as the agent's client. Another way that we reward quantity and the quantity of business is our trips. Our trips are known for three things. Our trips are known to either be easier to qualify for or higher caliber of a trip. And then the third thing, what I always tell agents, is we're the only company I know of that is not 1099 the agent on a trip either. So depending on their tax bracket, that helps saves them in a few thousand in income tax, because the company is covering the taxes for you on these trips. And I want to congratulate Eric. Eric had mentioned earlier that he started writing in 2021, and we were his first company. And since then, Eric, you've now qualified for your third consecutive trip. You've already qualified for the 2024 trip, which is 7 days and 6 nights in Spain. I know you and Janet are going to have a great time. We're going to have fly you and Janet 3 nights into Madrid. And then halfway through the week, we're going to transfer everybody to 3 nights in Valencia. So up front, we'll have the city bustle and the fun of exploring the big city up front. Then on the back end, Valencia is more of a beach town on the southeast side of Spain, on the Mediterranean coast. Be nice and relaxing. Entry level for this trip is only $70,000 of annual premium. Agents can qualify at $80,000 or at $90,000. I started doing that a few years ago because it seemed like some agents would try to qualify for 2 or 3 companies' trips, end up getting none. So I'm like, hey, qualify for our trip, keep riding with us. You're going to qualify for either a room upgrades, additional cash, things of that nature. So that's the second way that we reward the trips, is for quantity. And then how quality is awarded with Trinity Life and Family Benefit is our renewal commission is higher than most other final expense companies. It's interesting. In final expense, I can normally ask agents, and they can normally tell me what their first year commission is with companies, but they can hardly ever tell me what the renewal commission is. And they really kind of don't know what a 13-month or what their 25th month persistency ratios, things like that with the companies, because ultimately that's where agents make their money with Trinity Life and Family Benefit, is with the higher renewal commissions and higher persistency, because higher persistency obviously means agents make more money over time with a lot less headaches.
Perfect. Yeah. Alvin, are you able to share those details? And actually, can I pull we're done sharing this. Perfect. Are you able to share the details as far as what the after the first 12 months, the residual income looks like?
Well, it's obviously going to be based upon what their commission schedule is. But agents historically will tell me that their renewal, not only is their first year higher, but the renewal persistency higher is higher as well. For example, yesterday I just ran a report going back every year since 2001, showing exactly what our renewals are every year. Business issued in 2023, we're at 93% persistency. Business issued in 2022, 76% persistency. So that's business that was written between would that be about 21 months ago to 13 months ago with Trinity Life and Family Benefits, 75.8, almost 76% of that business is still in force. So it kind of goes back to that old adage, the business that stays is what pays. And I think that's another reason why a lot of career-minded agents like Eric choose to do business with our companies. I think sometimes maybe short-sighted agents will maybe choose to do business with a company because they're maybe only looking at a first-year commission, or they're often too worried about where their next sale is going to come from. But career-minded agents like Eric, they understand that to be successful, you need to do business with a company that has the tools in place to help you be successful.
Exactly. And I like that phrase you use, what stays is what pays. The other phrase that I learned from my mentor Gatlin was, it's not what you make, it's what you keep. Which I think is also powerful as well. So, but that being said, guys, let's do this. If somebody were interested in being able to write with Family Benefit or Trinity Life, obviously, if you're an agent of ours here in DeFord Insurance Group, just speak to your coach and the contracting department. We'll get that set up for you. But Alvin, could you dive into, if somebody was at another agency, kind of dive into where you guys are available or not available, the two different names, the Trinity, Family Benefit. We probably should have started with that, but let's make sure we cover that here.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Yeah. Trinity Life Insurance actually owns Family Benefit Life Insurance Company. Depending upon the state that the application is in, not that the agent is in, but the application is being completed in, which is where the policy owner lives, that determines if you're going to be writing with Trinity Life or Family Benefit Life Insurance companies. So let me pull up a map to show you what states each company is in. You'll see that the blue states are for Family Benefit, and then the green states are Trinity Life. We're mainly from about Pennsylvania, on the East Coast, from Pennsylvania down south to Georgia, and then west to about Utah and Arizona. And about every 3 to 4 years, we do another round of expansion. I expect that in 2024, we're going to start looking at expanding into additional states as well.
Okay, perfect. And so one question I have on that, for, obviously myself and Erica, both face-to-face agents, but is Family Benefit and Trinity available for telesales agents?
Thank you for asking that, JD, because very, very good question. Yes, we actually have agents in all 50 states. And we do allow telesales. And with the telesale applications, those agents are either using the pure telephonic application, or they're using that e-application. Because what's nice about our e-application is, I kind of also call it like a hybrid, because a lot of e-applications require the agent to be able to DocuSign. Well, for a DocuSign for a telesale agent, that's kind of hard to explain to a 75-year-old on their flip phone how to use DocuSign. So on the e-application, when the agent calls in to do the application verification with MRS, at the end of that, the telephone interviewer asks the agent, and Eric hears this all the time, do you want to go ahead and finish the e-application with you entering the bank account, beneficiary bank information, and DocuSigning it? Or do you want to go ahead and just finish the application while we're on the phone and we can voice sign it? So the e-application actually gives you the option of a DocuSign, which I think most face-to-face agents like Eric use, or non-face-to-face telesale agents. Most of the time, they will then convert it to the telephonic application and just finish it with the voice signatures. That works extremely well for those agents.
Okay, perfect. And then just to clarify, though, if you are telesales agents writing policies in multiple states, it is just a single contract and this the same application regardless of what state it's in, whether it's Family Benefit or Trinity Life. Is that right?
Yeah, the application would be different. Okay, so the agent would need to know which state the applicant is applying in.
Okay. And then as far as those benchmarks for bonuses and things of that nature, are they separate or are they under one house?
Yeah, that's all considered as one. So let's say, for example, if Eric on his lead bonus wrote $4,000 in Virginia and $8,000 in Ohio, that'd be a total of $12,000. Or his, lead bonus would be $600 in total.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect.
Same
Yeah.
thing for the trip. Doesn't matter which company. It's all considered as one.
Okay. Excellent. Good. All right, gentlemen. Eric, was there anything else that we may have left out? Did you want to make sure that you covered specifically in Trinity or otherwise?
Two things came to mind. One was we didn't talk about direct express credit card billing, and that's a great benefit to me as an agent for clients who are on direct express. That business is known to be not very sticky, but I find with family benefit, my direct express customers are quite persistent. I mean, my persistency is high with those clients. So that's a great benefit to me. It helps me qualify for trips and gets me lead bonuses. It's a big plus. The other thought is, as a company, I have two thoughts, and I'll turn it back over to you. One is, as an organization, from the Tulsa office or the client services offices, they understand final expense clients and final expense agents. So I always feel like when I talk to people, they understand what we're dealing with. And so they're very helpful. Whereas with other companies, I had a company that totally screwed up billing one month. And they're like, well, just tell them we're going to catch it up next week. We got it figured out. I'm like, my clients don't have any money next week. And I was very obviously quite frustrated. But yeah, as the organization, they understand what, who our clients are. The last thing is, I write a lot of business with a lot of different carriers. I've never got a personal phone call from other carriers where they said, hey, Eric, thank you for your business. Is there anything we can do for you? Is there anything we can do to make? I've never gotten a call from any other carriers. I've written tens of thousands of dollars in business with other carriers but Alvin from early on would call, check on me. Hey, you got your lead bonus. How are things going? And, when you're out there door knocking and it's 100 degrees and you haven't made a sale in 2 days, those calls have really picked me up at different times. I mean, just brighten my day. And I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I will definitely second that. And thank you for bringing that up, Eric, because one of my favorite things about writing with Family Benefit here is that it's so easy to get somebody on the phone when you have a question about anything. Like if you've got a question, there's no call trees or waiting on hold or dealing with other that nonsense. Like I'll be honest, like some of the other carriers that I write with, their client service, I guess how you would refer to it, or agent service arm is not very good. I almost call it garbage, right? It's like I almost refer to those companies as like a necessary evil, right? I only write with them because it's really best case use for my client. It really is the best policy for them. But as an agent, it really sucks to write with them. That is not the case with Family Benefit. And in fact, I could probably name 3 or 4 or 5 different people by name that I've spoke to on the phone that we kind of developed that personal relationship, whether it's with Alvin or the other the friendly folks that you deal with when you call in on the phone. So kudos to you guys on that one as well, Alvin.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, JD and Eric both. And yeah, like I mentioned, we do things maybe a little different here at Trinity Life and Family Benefit than other final expense carriers, but I think that's part of the reason why we've been able to be as successful as we have and stay in the final expense business for over 20 years when so many other companies have gotten in and out of the business. And I think it's, for a lot of different reasons, whether it be that I myself started as an independent agent and the president and founder of our company, Greg Zahn, started his career as an agent. So yeah, we've been in your shoes. We know what you go through on a day in and day out basis. And you heard me make the comment earlier that, we look at the agents as our clients and the policy owner is the agent's client. But it also goes back to we strive and take pride in being known as a company not only to be easy to do business with at the time of application, but after the policy has been issued as well. And that even goes down into the conservation things. Most often agents can simply resolve a client's issue with an email to policy owner services or premium counting, or a simple three-way telephone call. We strive to make it easy for the agents, because if they have to spend all their time on conservation issues or on hold for 45 minutes, when are they going to be able to go out and make sales? We want producers doing what they do best, because we know the more successful you are as producers, the more of your clients you can bring us, and then the more successful we'll be as well.
Perfect. Well, thank you again for sharing that. Alvin, was there any last things that maybe we didn't cover yet that you wanted to share about either Family Benefit or Trinity Life?
Well, I just want to thank all of you for hosting today's event, JD, and Eric. Thank you very much for your valuable input. I truly appreciate the relationship, both friendship and business-wise. And that's one of the things that I truly like about the final expense business. And that's one of the reasons why I think that we've kind of maybe went down more of a path line of a company that, we realize that we're much better off as a company having a few hundred agents with great working relationships, so we know the quantity and quality of business, instead of some companies have 50,000 agents. They have no idea who they are and what they're writing. So thank you guys for extending that relationship to us. And for those agents of you who are watching this who have written with us, I want to thank you for your business. And for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to write with Trinity Life and Family Benefit, my suggestion would be is just write us a half dozen apps. That way you can decide for yourself about being an easy company to do business with. So thank you, JD and Eric, today.
Yeah, 100%. So if you guys are interested, if you're at another agency, you're captive, you're at an MLM or some other agency other than DeFord Insurance Group, links are in the description if you're wanting to contract with us. We have a very strong relationship with the folks over at Trinity Life and Family Benefit, and so you'll have access to those contracts as well. The other thing that I'll throw out there is a little bit of a bonus. If you're watching this video in 2023, we are doing some live events. The two coming up that I'll mention are in November and December here in 2023. One's in Indianapolis, one is in Charlotte, and I believe Alvin, or a representative from Family Benefit and Trinity Life, will be at each one of those events. And we do, based on the success of those events that we've had this year in 2023, we'll be carrying the roadshow, the DeFord Insurance Group roadshow, into 2024. So I hope that, Alvin, you'll be able to join us there as well.
Looking forward to them. And yes, I will personally be in Indianapolis and Charlotte.
Fantastic. Well, once again, gentlemen, I want to thank both of you, Eric and Alvin, as well as everybody watching this video. Again, if you're interested in joining DeFord Insurance Group or getting a contract with Family Benefit Trinity Life, feel free to contact us in the link below. And we see you guys next time.